Welcome to another installment of Deconstructing Babylon, where we discern the signs and symbols of the mystery religion of Hollywood Babylon. I'm the Discerning Clerk, and I use a biblical framework to deconstruct my favorite movies. These are increasingly dark days, and everything seems so uncertain. Not because the future is uncertain, because as believers we know the future is already written. I suppose the uncertainty has to do with timing and our personal experiences, not just in the world, but in our faith walk. I'm so encouraged that the Holy Spirit is at work, waking up his people. And if you're here, that means that you're one of the awake ones. You're actually becoming aware of the lies in the world, in politics, in the schools, in the medical system, in the church, and most especially in Hollywood and entertainment. In fact, the lies and deception are one of the only certainties we have. Messiah even promised his disciples and all who follow him that the deceit would be so great that even the elect may believe the lies. As you know, today's selection is 2001's male model turned assassin comedy Zoolander, and we know this one will not appear in the video movie guide. This is normally when I would turn to IMDb user reviews, but to be perfectly honest, I've not been loving that format. So I was thinking about showing the official movie trailer, but I'm about to go through the entire film. However, I think I'll try it this time anyway, especially since it's been 25 years. I think it would be interesting to watch.
He's suave, debonair,
so courageous.
the epitome of cool.
You rule.
His name is Zoolander. Derek Zoolander.
He's almost too good looking.
International male supermodel.
The style and the hair, it's almost like the new afro for the white man.
But behind those eyes is a highly trained man of action.
You rock. No, you rock.
And perhaps the world's only hope of stopping a sinister assassination plot.
The fashion industry has been behind every major political assassination over the last 200 years. And behind every hit, a male model.
So why male models?
They do as they're told.
That is not true.
Yes, it is, Derek.
Okay.
Ben Stiller. Owen Wilson. Will Ferrell.
They're breakdance fighting. Taste my pain!
Christine Taylor.
When I was in 7th grade, I became bulimic.
You can read minds.
Zoolander must be eliminated.
They must use all their skills.
If I can create a basic disguise for us with this professional makeup kit, we may just be able to sneak in undetected.
Surprise! Did you find the files? They're in the computer.
They're in the computer?
To outsmart the most dangerous organization on the planet.
You got 30 years worth of files right here in this computer that are gonna bring you down. Woo! Yeah!
Oh, no.
Where'd all the files go?
And still find time to help the children.
I give you the Derek Zoolander Center for Kids Who Can't Read Good.
What is this?
A center for ants.
How can children learn how to read if they can't even fit inside the building?
Zoolander.
A movie's trailer used to create excitement, anticipation to watch it in theaters. The trailers were an important extension of the film itself, and much of its box office success relied heavily on the trailer. All right, let's see what we see in Zoolander. The movie opens with some live news coverage in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, a celebration of the newly elected prime minister, who has promised to end child and slave labor in the nation. This is apparently bad news for the fashion industry in the West, as a secret group gather in a dark room wearing high fashion, where they plot to end the humanitarian efforts.
That's not enough time. It takes months to recruit and train an operative.
Most of these shadowy figures don't seem too important, except for one named Jacobi Mugatu, who has been charged with the seeming impossible task of finding someone dumb enough to be brainwashed quickly. Enter Derek Zoolander. Our movie takes place in New York because, of course it does. Now, it was released in 2001, the same year the Twin Towers came down, but let's see if they show us. They start with the beauty shot of Lady Liberty and immediately cut to a fashion red carpet with none other than Donald Trump. It's always Trump. We cut back and forth between various other celebrities and an interview Derek is giving to Matilda Jeffries, a reporter for Time magazine.
Well, I guess I would have to answer your question with another question.
The event is an award show, like the Golden Globes for modeling, and Derek is a 3-time award-winning male model of the year. That is, until a rival appears on the scene. Hansel. Outside the event, with all the reporters and photogs, are hordes of protesters regarding Mugatu and the Prime Minister of Malaysia.
Ugly protesters bothering beautiful people.
Mugatu carries with him a small, fluffy dog, almost like an accessory or mascot. Now, we know a dog in a movie represents God using the occultic law of reversal. This canine accessory represents the thing that Mugatu worships. On the red carpet, we meet Derek's agent.
Maury Ballstein, Balls Models.
A man who needs no introduction.
Inside the award show, the nominees are only Derek and Hansel for Male Model of the Year. We get several shots of Hansel dressed as an angel, followed by some S&M shots of Derek. And these two are already giving duality, the twin towers of the modeling world. Mugatu colludes with Maury to get Derek into the assassin training program and take out the Prime Minister of Malaysia.
It stings me like a fissure in my ass, but you're right. He's ready.
We get some mirror symbolism with Derek, proving that even the emptiest, most vacuous person can have an inner man. Or perhaps this is pointing to the man they intend to implant into this empty vessel.
Did you ever think that maybe there's more to life than being really, really, really ridiculously good-looking?
We briefly meet Derek's model roommates, who try to cheer him up after the award loss, until they all die tragically in a freak gasoline fight accident.
It doesn't mean that we too can't not die in a freak gasoline fight accident.
At the funeral, we get more duality between Derek and Hansel. Maury tries to get Derek in with Mugatu, but Derek is determined to do something more with his life than modeling, so he decides to go back to his roots to see his blue-collar coal mining family.
I thought maybe I could work the mines with you guys.
It doesn't go well, and Derek is rejected by his fathers and brothers, seemingly for making a different choice for his life, trying to make his dad proud of him.
I just thank the Lord she didn't live to see her son as a mermaid.
The siren is an important symbol in the mystery religion, and while this isn't necessarily the point of the film, they filmed a scene that showed this character dressed as a merman. This is a Babylonian sea god that has been imagined by countless cultures throughout history, including the father god Dagon, worshipped by the Ninevites when the prophet Jonah appeared to them as a man coming out of a fish's body. All right, sorry to digress. Derek returns to New York, prepared to work for Mugatu's newest campaign, which we already know is a guise to get him into the brainwashing program.
For ages and ages, you've been around for a long, long time. I never wanted anything from you. And now you're retired. I can't have you. And it's funny how it switches like that.
Meanwhile, Matilda Jeffries is on a story about Mugatu's involvement in child and slave labor. She questions Maury about his potential knowledge of Mugatu's use of such egregious practices. But the rabbit hole goes much deeper than she currently knows.
Really? That's strange.
Matilda gets an anonymous tip to find Derek in the brainwashing program, which is being sold to him as a day spa.
What are you doing here, Derek? I thought you quit the business.
Derek goes through the program and then wakes up in his own bed, in the apartment he shared with his recently deceased roommates. Derek has been in the program for a week, and now it's the day before the show for Mugatu, when he will carry out the assassination.
Earth to Matilda. I was at a day spa.
Matilda tries to warn Derek, but he does what he's always done and appears at a party with celebrities, where he has another run-in with his supposed nemesis, Hansel.
Excuse me, brah. You're excused. And I'm not your brah.
Matilda rescues Derek from the threat of Mugatu's henchwoman, Katinka, who is trying to secure their asset. And Matilda gets another anonymous call, but this time the caller will reveal himself. Derek and Matilda meet him in a cemetery named for the Greek ideal of male beauty, Adonis. His story with goddess Aphrodite is derived from the story of Ishtar and Tammuz. This cemetery is specifically for young male models who died mysteriously in their prime.
None of them ever made it past 30.
They meet the anonymous caller, J.P. Pruitt, who is a hand model, and he knows how deep the rabbit hole goes, not only using child and slave labor, but the brainwashing, assassin-making program, using models to kill political figures and then discarding the assets.
And most important of all, models don't think for themselves.
Derek and Matilda hide out at Hansel's after the two rivals make amends with each other. And now that they're on the same side, I notice the duality is gone, and they both wear red.
Derek and Matilda are in hiding because some dudes brainwashed Derek off the Prime Minister of Micronesia.
Malaysia.
Right. So, they're going to be hiding here for a little while. Let's show them a good time.
The next day, the duality is back, and the models and reporter come up with a plan for Derek and Hansel to disguise themselves and sneak into Maury's office for evidence of the program. Apparently, the longtime agent kept records of all the deals with Mugatu. At the fashion show, which is being held underground, the color they chose is Disney villain green. This whole scene is a true counterfeit of the throne room of the Most High. The Prime Minister of Malaysia is there as Mugatu's guest of honor, until Derek is triggered to carry out the assassination.
Derek Zoolander just tried to kill the Prime Minister of Malaysia.
All is about to be exposed as Hansel secured Maury's computer, and Maury confesses everything anyway.
The whole thing is in my den in Long Island. I can have that evidence here in 20 minutes.
Mugatu tries to take out the peaceful Prime Minister himself, but then Derek steps in front of him and saves the day with his new left-turning look, the oft-talked-about Magnum.
Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
Cut to a few years later, and Derek has done more with his life than just modeling. He opens a private school of sorts. I guess it's meant to be a charity-based educational institute, but I'm certain it's a private school.
All right, guys, last one, the helicopter's rotten egg. Let's go!
Derek and Matilda have a child together, and the movie ends with Derek reading a story to a group of children in front of a memorial statue of his former roommates in a water-based gasoline fight. The final image is the New York skyline, without the Twin Towers. Despite the biblical framework I work with, I purposely use the word framework instead of lens. A lens would only obscure my vision of what I watch, and may even prejudice my opinion to be over-spiritualized or attempt to fit everything. And to be very honest, that was the temptation here. I did want to think that Mugatu was a villainized version of the Most High, or some false realization of Jacob, the second-born of Isaac, who was renamed Israel. I wanted to believe Derek and Hansel were prophets, or priests, or angels, but the fact is, none of that was present. So what is the meaning in Zoolander? Or is there any? It is my opinion that what we see is very simply Freemason duality. Derek and Hansel are the twin pillars, pawns in the industry. And if he had stayed long enough, Hansel would have been made an operative at some point too, I'm sure. Matilda and Katinka are dual as well. One good, one bad, one blonde, one brunette. Even Mugatu in himself is dual. He formed a new identity from a previous one, which happened to include the creation of the piano key necktie. The black and white piano keys are another pointer to duality, and the necktie is a symbol of control. And at the center of the secret societies that thrive on duality is, of course, control. Particularly mind control, which is where the storyline brings us. And while there was no Dorothy reference or Alice allusion, we weren't really looking at drug-induced mind control, but a real brainwashing that is triggered when needed and discarded when completed. And that is very real. And it also makes me wonder about Derek's roommates, their untimely and tragic deaths. Were they also operatives? The child and slave labor aspect was interesting, but didn't hit on the real issue of trafficking. In fact, I would wager that the institute that Derek started at the end had more to do with child trafficking than the Prime Minister of Malaysia sought to end. That is just speculation, but it stands to reason that the abused end up becoming abusers if they don't get help. Really, there was no good ending here. The fashion industry continues, slaves are still exploited, and models are still pawns. We didn't even see Mugatu or Katinka get arrested. Justice was not served here. All right, that's enough for today. Thank you for enduring to the end. Give the video a thumbs up if you agree and a thumbs down if you disagree. Comment below what you think I missed with this one and to suggest any movie you'd like me to deconstruct in the future. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, but don't follow me. Follow the one who saves you. And until next time, keep looking up.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!